Hello, this is Warm Insight. Today we're going to talk about the hidden economics and the human cost of the artificial intelligence revolution. Leaving a like and subscribing is a huge help to us. Did you know that a single company is projecting $1 trillion in orders over the next few years, while at the exact same time, tech giants are quietly preparing for white-collar unemployment to hit 30%? We are standing at the edge of the most profound economic transformation in human history. The relentless pace of artificial intelligence development continues to reshape global industries and economies. It is driving unprecedented innovation, while simultaneously presenting formidable challenges. Today, we are going to transcend the daily headlines. We are going to take a deep macroeconomic, psychological, and historical dive into the forces currently defining this technological revolution. Let us start at the very center of this gravitational pull. At the forefront of this transformation is Nvidia. Their recent conference in the year 2026 underscored an almost unparalleled market dominance. Chief Executive Officer Jensen Huang projected $1 trillion in orders for their new chip architectures through the year 2027. This is not merely a financial statement. It is a profound declaration of intent and market conviction. This level of anticipated demand is historically unprecedented for a single hardware provider in such a brand new field. To truly understand what this company is doing, we have to look back at the California gold rush of 1849. During the gold rush, the people who consistently made the most money were not the miners panning for gold in the rivers. The real wealth was made by the merchants, selling the picks, the shovels, and the tents. Samuel Brannan was the first millionaire of the gold rush, and he made his fortune selling supplies to the desperate prospectors. Today, Nvidia is playing the exact same game, but on a macroeconomic scale. Their advanced graphic processing units and their new central processing unit focus for agentic artificial intelligence position them as the indispensable enabler of virtually all significant technological initiatives. From massive data centers to orbital computing in space, they are selling the picks and shovels for the digital gold rush. But this company has built something much stronger than just fast hardware. They have achieved technological hegemony through network effects. Their software ecosystem has fostered a powerful economic moat. This has created a virtuous cycle, where developers build exclusively on their platform, which further entrenches the company into the foundation of the internet. This psychological lock-in makes switching costs absolutely prohibitive for many enterprises. Once a company trains its engineers on this specific software, it becomes far too expensive and time-consuming to switch to a competitor. This secures long-term revenue streams. We can also see their diversification into vertical markets, the integration of their self-driving technology into major automotive players, like Hyundai and BYD, demonstrates the broad applicability of their technology beyond just cloud computing. This strategic expansion hedges against market consolidation in any single sector and opens new high-growth revenue streams. From a macroeconomic perspective, this exemplifies the modern embodiment of a supply-side innovation shock. This is an economic term for a rare event, where a single company creates technological breakthroughs that enable exponential productivity, gains across completely diverse industries. Think of the invention of the steam engine by James Watt. It did not just change how fast a loom could weave cloth. It fundamentally reorganized human geography, creating massive urban centers and changing the very concept of the workday. This dynamic always leads to periods of intense capital formation and reallocation. It signals a massive structural shift in human civilization, rather than just a cyclical upturn in the stock market. However, while this sector rides a wave of seemingly limitless demand, the broader economic landscape reveals the significant and often overlooked costs of this technological ascendance. The price of artificial intelligence is immense. It costs massive amounts of capital, carbon, and human labor. Let us look at the unprecedented capital expenditure happening right now. Meta has announced a staggering planned capital expenditure of up to $135 billion in 2026. This includes a massive $27 billion infrastructure deal. To put $135 billion into perspective, that is a number larger than the entire gross domestic product of many developed nations, all being spent by one company in a single year just to build computer brains. This capital drain promises long-term returns, but it necessitates brutal choices in the present. We can see this evidenced by companies planning massive employee layoffs to offset their infrastructure spending. This is a stark reminder of the innovation premium that often accompanies transformative technologies. Companies are being forced to prioritize strategic investments in metal and silicon over immediate headcount stability and human livelihoods. Then we have the looming energy crisis. The question of who is really footing the power bill is escalating into a critical global debate. These massive data centers are known as hyperscalers, and their voracious demand for electricity presents a significant sustainability challenge and an escalating operational cost. Historically, major technological revolutions have always coincided with profound shifts in energy consumption. When humanity transitioned from wood to coal during the Industrial Revolution, it changed the physical landscape of the planet. When we moved to mass electrification, we had to dam rivers and build thousands of power plants. The artificial intelligence revolution is exactly the same. It threatens to exacerbate grid, strain, and accelerate climate concerns if it is not managed proactively. The physical power grid in many developed nations is simply not equipped to handle the gigawatt demands of these new server farms. We are rapidly approaching a physical bottleneck where the limitation on progress will not be computer power, but the basic availability of electricity. Beyond the capital and the carbon, we must face the unsettling prospect of job displacement. A major chief executive officer recently made a sobering prediction. He stated that artificial intelligence agents could send college graduate unemployment over 30%. This is a terrifying psychological warning. Historical precedents always suggest that technological advancement creates new jobs. When the automobile replaced the horse, we lost blacksmiths but gained mechanics. However, the speed and the breadth of the impact on white-collar work currently happening differ completely from past transitions. In the past, machines replaced human physical labor. Today, algorithms are replacing human cognitive labor. This could trigger significant social and political challenges. It echoes the fears of the Industrial Revolution. In the early 19th century, English textile workers smashed automated looms because the machines were destroying their wages and their way of life. They were not against technology, they were against starving. We are facing a potential crisis on a far grander scale today. Understanding this requires a highly nuanced approach. We must separate the legitimate economic concerns from irrational fear-mongering, but we absolutely must acknowledge the urgent need for proactive reskilling and massive social safety nets. With all this massive spending and societal disruption, we have to ask if we are hearing the echoes of the past. Are we in the middle of a massive financial bubble? Amidst the current euphoria, seasoned investors inject a heavy dose of macroeconomic sobriety. The assertion that a bunch of people got rich quick and a reset is coming resonates deeply with historical patterns of speculative bubbles. We have seen this happen time and time again. We can look back to the Dutch tulip mania of the 1630s, where the price of a single tulip bulb exceeded the cost of a luxury mansion. People were swept up in a psychological frenzy, abandoning all rational valuation. We saw it again during the dot-com bust of the year 2000. Take Cisco Systems, for example. During the height of the dot-com bubble, Cisco was the most valuable company on the planet because they sold the network routers that made the internet function. They were the picks and shovels of the 1990s. But when the bubble burst, their stock price plummeted. And it took over 20 years for it to reach those peak levels again. Even though the internet continued to grow exponentially, this is the danger of investing in infrastructure during a speculative mania. Periods of rapid technological advancement always foster irrational exuberance, where the price of an asset completely disconnects from its fundamental reality. The psychological phenomenon of fear of missing out drives asset prices to absolutely unsustainable heights. Investors see their neighbors getting rich on tech stocks, and they panic, throwing their life savings into the market at the absolute peak. While the underlying technology is undoubtedly transformative and real, the current enthusiasm of the stock market warrants very careful scrutiny. We must draw clear parallels to past cycles, where the long-term winners eventually emerged only from the smoking debris of massive overvaluation. Beyond the stock market and the labor pool, this technology is rapidly becoming a cornerstone of geopolitical strategy. We are moving artificial intelligence onto the global chessboard. The chief executive officer of Palantir recently stated that his company provides technology that gives the West a critical edge in the Middle East. This underscores the rapidly growing role of machine learning in national security and modern defense. We are no longer just talking about chatbots that write emails. We are talking about predictive algorithms that coordinate military strikes and analyze satellite imagery in fractions of a second. Furthermore, the ongoing use of advanced language models by the Department of Defense, despite recent designations as a supply chain risk, highlights a massive contradiction. It shows the complex interplay between rapid innovation, strict security imperatives, and the practical challenges of technology procurement. In a rapidly evolving threat landscape, the military knows it is risky to use commercial software, but they also know it is far more dangerous to fall behind their adversaries. This introduces profound ethical considerations about autonomous weapon systems, global data privacy, and the undeniable potential for algorithms to escalate or de-escalate global conflicts. This technology is influencing the balance of power on an unprecedented planetary scale. It is the new nuclear arms race, but instead of uranium, the weapon is data and processing power. So what is the path forward for the discerning individual navigating this chaos? The artificial intelligence era is not a monolith of unbridled, simple growth. It is a highly complex tapestry woven with threads of extraordinary scientific innovation, immense global capital demands looming, societal and labor shifts, and terrifying geopolitical reconfigurations. The path forward requires a highly discerning eye. We must move beyond the superficial narratives sold to us by corporate marketing departments. We have to grasp the underlying macroeconomic currents moving the money. We need to understand the deep psychological drivers of market behavior that cause speculative bubbles, and we must study the historical precedents that illuminate our present reality. Investing your time, your career, and your capital in this landscape demands not just an appreciation for technological prowess, but a deep structural understanding of its integrated impact on capital markets, labor dynamics, physical infrastructure, and global power structures. Those who can master this holistic perspective, who can hold both the brilliant promise and the devastating risks in their minds at the same time, will be the best positioned to navigate the opportunities and mitigate the dangers of this defining epoch of human history. This brings us to our warm insight for today. Behind every trillion-dollar valuation and every new algorithmic breakthrough, there is a human reality that we cannot afford to ignore. We are building machines that can think, but we must not lose our ability to feel, to empathize, and to protect the vulnerable among us. True wealth in the coming decade will not just be measured in graphic processing units or stock portfolios, but in our human resilience and our capacity to adapt together. We must ensure that the tools we build serve humanity, rather than reducing humanity to a mere input in a digital machine. How are you preparing your own career and life for the changes artificial intelligence will bring in the next 5 years? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.